Good afternoon, peeps. Nice chill day here in Tennessee. And I wanted to talk about a story of when I had the sense of urgency and a sense of spite triggered in me, especially from a really young age. And we'll start with the urgency one, the sense of not feeling like I have time to accomplish things, time to work on myself, time to rest. I need immediate results when it comes to financial gains in the gym, relationship gains, popularity, all those things came really, really early in my life. I was born to a single mother. Thankfully, I had my grandfather in the home for a couple of years, but ultimately it shifted into having a stepdad, and more on that specific dynamic later. But initially, when my mom was in the church and they were supporting her and supporting us, like as a group in a village and a community to help raise me, a lot of the grown men in the community, specifically the church community, would always say to me that you're the man of the house now, and they need to watch and take care of your mom. So immediately this expectation in me was set where I had to become whatever the idea of a man was and just demolish that and always show up, always be the best that I can be, because as a kid that's all I knew. Is being a man is being on top of your game, being the best person in the room, the smartest person in the room. And as a kid, what mattered too was being the fastest. So that already kind of set me up for failure, because all I was doing was overexerting myself with effort, because if I didn't perform, I didn't meet that expectation, that invisible expectation that is not supposed to be placed on a 5 to 6 year old kid. It's just not supposed to exist. They're supposed to grow up. But I mentally time traveled to force myself to be older to meet those expectations, even though they were completely false. And I was meeting nothing because I'm just a kid. Furthermore, in the dynamic of being in a household with a man that isn't my actual father, one of the first things that I tasked myself with, even at a really young age, was I am going to be there for my kids. I am not going to be absent. I'm going to show up 120%, and I'm going to be with them forever. So there was already this idea that I was married to and I needed to meet. And that created like an energetic knot of I need to grow up faster so I can do that thing to be the dad that I wanted to be, because it's what needs to happen, because I need to be the man and I need to do this. So there was that stirring in me while growing up. And like all people that aren't ready for things, when you face adversity, you tend to react very volatile and emotionally and just be generally reactive. And this goes with the man that was my stepdad for some time. I was a really rough kid. I was very energetic, troublemaker. You needed to really be on top of me to make sure I wasn't doing some crazy daredevil stunt and setting up some pillows between a dresser and a couch and dive bombing to one or the other and breaking something. So that led him to be extremely strict. He also came from a small village in El Salvador, so discipline looked a little different there. But when you're a young man and you're fathering someone who isn't yours, and you have that background, you're going to be borderline violent with them. There was a moment after a beating when I was younger, when he was leaving the room, that I was so full of conviction that I literally felt like Superman shooting lasers out of my face through the back of this guy's head. And the thought that just kept stirring violently in my mind was, I'm never going to be like you. I'm never going to do what you do to my children, ever. So now I have this swirling idea of needing to show up all the time, having to be a man, and then being the complete opposite of the people around me, which in a way gave me the perfect formula of being excellent, but it was all fueled by spite. And I know a lot of people do things from spite, and it is a very powerful source of energy, but you also need to rest from it for some time, and you need to give yourself a break and fuel yourself properly into moving forward. Because if you don't step away from that kind of energy, it'll consume you. And it consumed me, because I had such a hard target on not being like my stepdad. Yes, hi Missy. Like being like my stepdad, or not be like my biological father, which was absent. that I ended up becoming an individual who was absent in places that I really needed to be present. Or I was starting to become reactive and not have patience because I was just fueled by this anger and spite. So my patience and emotional energy was always getting burnt up because of those things. And that all kind of boils down to the umbrella of, in those ideas, not feeling like you have time. And in the age that we're in now, where all we're seeing on the internet is like top 5% people in performance where it comes to being in the gym, attractiveness, social dynamic understanding, having really high EQ or just high IQ and maneuvering through society really well. Just they just have high marks everywhere, and that's all you're seeing. You can feel like you need to be there right now. And one of the things is you can, but you need to take your time to get there. Everyone has their own pace. Ultimately, if you're not pursuing something with the medium of authenticity, you can use all your whole life force and span. You're never going to get to where you'll feel fulfilled. On a story with that specifically, I graduated boot camp from the Marine Corps, and there were people to my left and my right, in front of me, behind me, crying their faces off because they did it. They proved their mettle and they earned their eagle of an anchor. I really didn't care, because to me, all I did was listen, follow instruction, and it was obvious. If you don't give up and you just do what you have to do, you'll be on that parade deck. And that was because I still had that feeling of, I need to be someone, show up, and not be like these other people. This isn't enough. I did something that not even 3% of America ever does, or even passes. And I felt that way. And it's because I felt like I didn't have time. I was like, all right, cool, bro, I graduated boot camp, what's next? Like, I need to hit the next accolade to actually feel fulfilled so that I can say that I'm the man. That will take that away from you. Comparison is a thief of joy. And you can have a thief in your mind and in your heart, in the back seat of your existence, stealing all the joy from you because you're like, that's not enough. You haven't shown up enough times. You haven't made enough money. You haven't talked to enough people. You're not popular enough. You're not lifting enough. You need to get to this position. But that's a journey. Getting to benching 225 is a journey. Getting to make your first $5,000 month is a journey. Getting your first really solid group of friends together that you can grow with is a journey. And if you can't be happy with the first few dollars you make, the first couple of friends that you start to develop that are actually genuine and on that same path as you with that same intention, you're not ever going to get to the group. You have to value what you're doing right now, because if not, you're going to have that impression of needing to accomplish things all the time. If you always feel like you're in a rush, you're never going to be present in the places that matter the most. And the whole point of accelerating yourself into position, like to different through facets of life, is so that you can show up and enjoy things. Bro, you can be on a yacht in Ibiza, but as long as you have that sense of urgency in your heart, you're not going to enjoy that. You're going to just be thinking to yourself, I need to be earning more. There should be more. I should have been able to pay for more people to be on this yacht for whatever, insecure, self-fulfilling reason that I wanted to. Ultimately, what I'm saying is, you have time, but you need to go into yourself and reflect and understand that there is a vessel, a medium, a talent, a career that can take you to where you want to go, and it'll get you there quicker than anything else in life because it's your path. But the only way to have the self-discovery of understanding what gives you the time to accelerate to where you want to be is who you are. So the main thing you need to do is you need to slow down. You can still use the spite, but you need to use it in a healthy manner. Use it as a point of reflection. Accept that you don't want to be like everyone else. Accept that these people didn't try because they were scared to fail, they were scared to look new, and they thought that they didn't have time to do something. Yes, we're on the other end of that spectrum. We are capable, we are intelligent, and we are strong, and we are trying to exercise all three of those things as hard as we can to show off to the world that we're nothing like them. But ultimately, if you don't give yourself the time to rest, calculate, and calibrate your mind, emotions, and body to work together, you're going to gas out by burning the candle on both ends. So slow down. You have time. Celebrate the wins that you've gotten so far. There are hundreds of thousands of, and dozens and hundreds of dozens and dozens of thousands of whatever quantitative measurement you want to take of programs for self-improvement that always say, celebrate your wins. What were your wins for the day? Because showing yourself that you're getting 1%, 2% better every single day is how you get to that 120,000% crazy high earner, super high performer in the gym, Mr. Chad popular man in the world. Celebrate your wins, but the only way to win is to slow down and deploy your effort properly. And if you want to find out how to do that, hit me up on Instagram, man. Hit me up. Let's do this shit together. Because through community, everything is possible. And if you don't believe in yourself, I believe in you. And I'm pretty yoked, bro. So let's get it together. All right? Ciao.